Previously, we looked at how to load and save data with user defaults, which works great for user settings or small amounts of JSON, for example. However, for larger data, it's not a great place to store, in particular if you know the data will grow and grow over time. In this app, we'll let users store as much data as they want, and so we need a better storage solution than just throwing things into user defaults. Fortunately, iOS makes it surprisingly easy to read and write data from permanent storage. All apps get access to a documents directory where we can store our files freely, however we want to, then read those back in again. Even better, this automatically synchronizes with iCloud. And so if the user has a new device one day, they upgrade their iPhone, for example, and restore from a backup, they'll get our backups too. There's nothing else for us to think about. There is a catch though, as I think always. And in this case, the catch is that on iOS, all apps are sandbox, which means they run in a particular container with a hard to guess name. This means we can't, and honestly, it shouldn't even try to, get the exact directory where an app is running through guesswork. Instead, we want to rely on Apple's APIs. Please tell us where the documents directory is. There is really no nice way of doing this, so I usually just paste in the same helper code I use again and again and again to find the documents directory. It builds on an Apple API called File Manager, which handles files. We can say, please give me all this documents directory for the user, and then return the first one, which is the one for our app. And so let's try it out here. We'll say, as a method in content view called getDocumentsDirectory, which returns a URL. Step one, we're going to find out all possible document directories for this user. We'll say, let paths be file manager.default.urls for, in this case, we'll ask for .document directory in the user domain mask. And then just send back the first one, which really ought to be the only one, quite frankly. Return paths 0. And that, honestly, magic piece of code is how we find the user's documents directory. Like I said, there is no nice way of doing this. And again, this is to remind you, this is the documents directory for the user for our app. No other app can poke around in here unless it belongs to us. So it's a private documents directory for the user inside our application. And that directory here is ours to do with as we please, quite frankly, because it belongs to our app. It'll be backed up with our app to iCloud. It'll be deleted if the app gets deleted. Other than physical device limitations, like running out of storage, there is no meaningful limit to how much data we can store here. Although remember, users can go to the settings app and see how much data you're using on their phone, so please be respectful of their storage. So now we have this documents directory to work with, we can read and write files there freely. You've already seen string contents of, the initializer, and data contents of for reading data, but for writing, we've got to use a write to method. And when we write out strings, this takes 3 parameters. One is the URL to write to. Where do you want to store the file? Another one is to whether to make the write atomic or not, which means write all at once in one big chunk. And then what character encoding to use, how to save your data. The first two of those are straightforward because we can use our documents directory plus a unique URL, and then we can pass in myfile.txt, that's fine. The atomic one, always true. There's never really a reason to make that false. What this means is, if you had false atomic and you try and write a big file out, you perhaps be part way through writing when another part of our app might try and read the file as it's still being written, and actually it'd get half the data back. So it could go completely haywire. Please don't do that. It ideally shouldn't cause a crash. You've written very safe code, but it does mean you've only got part of your data back, which is not what you wanted to do. Atomic writing is very clever. The system writes out the whole file to a temporary file name, so all the work of writing out done, and then in one go renames it. So it's never like partly written, it's always fully written at every given time. And so either the whole thing is there or nothing is. The third parameter though, the character set, the Unicode side, we looked at this character encoding previously. If you remember, in Project 5, we had to talk to the Objective-C API, and we had to use UTF-16 to use the API. It gets old and filthy. That's what Objective-C uses, right? Swift's native encoding is UTF-8, not 16, so we'll use that here. Whew. To put all that into action, we're going to modify the default text view of our template. So it writes a test string to the documents directory in a file in there, then reads it back into a new string, and then prints it out. So we have the complete cycle of writing and reading done together. So I'll say that we have hello world with an on tap gesture here. And our message to write will be test message, because I'm super original. We'll then get the URL we want to write to, where to save our data. And this means let URL is our documents directory, wherever that might be, appending a path component, and I'll append message.txt. So it'll be some long, very, very long path / message.txt. That's what we're writing to. Now I'll start a do block and then try stir.write to that URL atomically. Yes, please. Atomically. Automatically, no. Atomically, there we go. True, with the encoding of .utf8. So Swift's native format. That writes out the file, or catches errors otherwise. We'll then read it back in again. We'll say let input be try string contents of that same URL, attempt to read it again, and then print the input. And if anything goes wrong, we will catch and print error.localized description. So if it goes wrong, just try it out. So we're writing out a message, reading it straight away, and reading the version we saved to disk. Not the original string, that's the saved version. It should be identical. So we've just written the same thing. Written and read, there we go. The same thing, it should be the same. Let's find out now. I'll press Command R to build and run. And hopefully we'll see hello world. And we can give it a try. All being well, there we go, that's hello world. And if I move to the side slightly and press hello world, boom, test message comes out again. So we're seeing the same thing printed in Xcode's debug console. So it's worked really nicely. Now before we move on, here's a small challenge for you. Back in Project 8, we looked at how to make a generic extension on the bundle class that let us find, load, and decode any kind of codable data from our app bundle. Can you write something similar for the documents directory? That means using this get documents directory, loading the file up into data, decoding it into the right type, and so forth, all done automatically. And even better, I would make this an extension on File Manager. You could do file manager.default.decode some type from some file name, for example, or from documents, whatever. Have a go at that. Similar to the astronaut decoding codable thing we had, except now not the app bundle, but the documents directory instead.